Hello, high school Democrats. Welcome back to another interview. And today we are with Reverend Dr. Helen Hunter, who is running for state representative in LD 16. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, of course. And I'm going to give the first question over to Nicole.
So you're the writing candidate to be representative for Legislative District 16. What makes you the best candidate for this role, and what makes you stand out?
I think I'm the best candidate, and I stand out because of my years of experience in community organization, in community advocacy, social justice issues. I bring a wealth of diversity, ability to mix and to work with all different classes and groups and ethnic groups of people. As I said, I've done a lot of advocacy, especially in my role as a pastor, and even more so as a chaplain. A part of our job description is to advocate for our patients. And I've done that, especially when it comes to their health and well-being and their social issues. And I've also been heavily involved in social justice and civil rights issues, particularly policing, community policing since I've been in Arizona the past 10, 12 years. I also believe I'm the right person because I have a heart and a care for people. I think we need to have more compassionate leadership in our legislature, and that's what I bring to the table.
Yes, absolutely. I understand that. I think it's so great to have leaders that are really there to listen to the people. You know, it seems like you're more of just a person, not a politician, just a person out there trying to help people, which is, this is why you should go vote, So with that, I think I'm going to give the next question over to Lauren. Thank you.
Yes, so it's such an honor to be speaking with you today. And
Okay.
So COVID-19 has hurt communities of all types across Arizona. How do you plan to address the pandemic, and what will you do to help our communities grow strong again?
Well, my first goal is to actually get on the ballot. As a write-in candidate, I need to get on that ballot on the August 4th primary so that I can move on to the general election. Once I get there, my goal is to address and to work for improving the education in Arizona and working for a more healthy community. I'm greatly concerned about the opening of the schools, and so the health issues of addressing the COVID-19 epidemic will be paramount for me once I get into the legislature. We have to be able to open our schools safely. We have to be safe, and I think we'll be advocating for more funding for the schools to be able to provide the equipment and the resources. PPE equipment and technologies is paramount so that we can reopen the schools safe. My biggest fear is that we'll open too soon and without the proper resources, and to have a plethora of sick children, young folks like yourself, and then that we'll bring that to the parents and then bring that to the grandparents, and we'll have a ball of confusion again, and we'll be starting from ground one. So when I get to the legislature, my greatest goal would be to try to help create safer schools and healthy communities so we can reopen safely.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for spending most of your time answering that question, focusing on schools, just because, as students, we are so scared about the reopening of our schools just because that is just around the corner, and it really means so much to me and to all of us that you want to increase funding to schools so they will be able to keep us safe, and also providing technology so schools that aren't reopening and are doing it online, the students have access to the technology that will let them get the best education possible. And it's really scary time.
You say you're fearful, and I hear that coming from you, and I wonder the other young folks that are on this interview, do you have these same fears as well? And what would you do if you were in my position? Because I need to listen to the constituents so I can also answer what you need me to do. You have more answers than I may have, because you are in school. So I'd like to just quickly, I know the interview is for me, but I need to know what you're thinking about for the school reopening.
Yeah, thank you so much for, asking us too. It really does mean a lot. I think one of the things I personally think is the main problem is a lot of the classes that I want to take, I take online. Student government is a class I want to take, and that option is not online, as well as if I decide to take online classes, it's really hard for me to actually get in contact with the teacher. I would so much rather have not a face-to-face, but more of like a Zoom call or online environment, or maybe even just a phone call where I could call them and just they could teach it to me, because I'm not a person that can actually just read something and take a test and say, oh, I know how to do it now. Like, I can't do that. So I think that is one of the biggest problems with online school. And if we had
Mm.
some sort of system where we could have the teachers that don't feel comfortable going back to school to be able to teach from their homes, would just be a better option overall. So,
And then,
yeah.
and so in your case, you folks, so you all are home right now. Your schools have not opened, I'm assuming, yet, correct? What
Correct.
looking at? August 17th?
For
My
me, it's pushed back until September 8th.
Okay, September 8th. Um, that's a lot of work we need to do. My question is, can you tell me what your schools, maybe one or two of you let me know what your schools are doing right now to be prepared to open? Because I'm hearing this fear from the students. I have children and grandchildren here in the state, and my son-in-law is a assistant principal, and my grandchildren are 13 and 10, and he has to go back to school, and their mother is compromised. He has compromising health issues. So did they have to make a decision whether the husband can go back to work and take care of the family without jeopardizing the lives and the health and the well-being of his wife and his children? So I think the funding for those who need to have that option, when you say the live teaching is fine online, but those they're being forced to go back to school. So one of the first things I'd like to address is the parents, the teachers and staff, not just the teachers, the administrators, the cafeteria workers, the janitors, the security, all those people are in jeopardy, and we want to make sure that there's funding for them if they really cannot be in a live classroom.
And definitely, that's something also I experienced in my family. My dad's a teacher. He's high risk, and he's got to go back to teach this fall or lose his job. There's no other choice for him. And for me, I'm debating the decision whether to choose between the health. My dad's high risk. I have a pre-existing condition. I'm high risk of my health and my education, which is it's really not fair.
So I think that the legislators and the candidates really need to hear from you folks, because you are in the midst of it. And so that would be my priority and my goal once I get in office. But I need you folks to, are you, any of you voters at the age of voting yet? Because I can't do anything unless I get on that ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hoping that if you're able to vote, and if you're not able to vote, that you encourage the friends and your family members to vote. And I guarantee you that when I get into office, because I'm thinking positively, once I get on the written in on the ballot, and I start campaigning for a general election, once I get in that office in January, I'll be working towards some of these issues before I even get in office. And I'll still work for it if I'm not there. But we need to make sure that we get out and vote. This is a critical time in history for our country. Up and down the ballot, from the president down to the school board. We have to vote, and that is our best weapon, and we have to support the candidates like you're doing. So I hope that you guys, folks, continue to do this and interview the candidates and glean from us what you can, and then offer to us what we can do to make it better for you.
I mean, it means the world to us that you're listening to us. Even if you're not in office right now, it means the world that you're someone who's fighting to represent all people, including the people who can't vote yet, which is just incredible.
Well, I'm a board certified chaplain, and years of training to deal with different backgrounds, different faith groups, different ideologies, different ethnic groups. And one thing I learned, I didn't make this up myself, but I learned one of the best tools I learned as a chaplain is three things. We should show up, we should hush up, and we should listen up. That's the gist of our profession. Show up, I'm going to be there, I'm going to show up, and then I need to hush up so I can hear what you're saying, and then I need to listen up. That's my mantra.
And your experience is so unique too, because when they think evangelical, they always think the other side, the Republicans and stuff. But you're a living example of how religion doesn't have to be something that's very confined, and you have to like, it's something that can be inclusive, and it's also something that you can take lessons from to use in the government, which is really incredible.
Well, I think we need to look at spirituality. I think that's a very important element in our education and our healthcare, and even in the hospital. Some of the doctors, they pray. It doesn't matter what religious faith, which religious background you have, but the fact that you have a higher power or something within you that makes you desire to do the right thing and have a love and a concern for your fellow human beings. We have to have elected officials who care more about the people than they do themselves. You know, this stage in my life, it doesn't impact me greatly, the COVID-19. I can stay home. You know, my children are raised, and my grandchildren are in good homes, but there's so many people that are not in my position, and that's who I'll fight for, and I've been fighting for those types of people all my life.
Which is just like incredible. Like that kind of public service is the people who should be in politics. You're completely right, and we really thank you for that.
And even those that don't have a religious or a spiritual background, you may not be aware, but I really promote and embrace the golden rule. My husband's telling me that, I'm going to say this, embrace the golden rule. And whatever your faith background is or your religious beliefs, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Just treat other people like you want to be treated. It doesn't matter, that's all religions, it's universal. And that's what I stand on.
And that kind of like ray of sunshine is what gives me hope during this time right now. It's tough, but there's people like you who are fighting for all people and fighting to just build a better community. And so I'll transition to our next question from there. That was a really great talk. So affordable housing is an issue in Arizona, obviously as a huge metropolitan area, but also an expensive to live metropolitan area. And it did not get any better after COVID. Now there's millions of Americans unemployed who can't cover their rent. So what plans do you have to provide aid to those who are struggling to pay their rent and might have lost their homes?
Well, I've been doing a homeless ministry for the last 10 years on the street. I'm on the streets of Phoenix once a month with the members of my ministry, and I also do a lot of homeless ministry in Mesa, and I'm proud to say that we opened our first transitional house in January of this year, and we are actually taking in families. It's not a shelter, it's a transitional house. We're taking in families, and we have programs in place to get families on their feet so that they can get to and also purchase a home. We're looking at home ownership, purchase homes and small trailers and so forth that they can get in and own and have some equity in their property. So we are doing transitional housing right now. I have applied for monies with the city of Mesa and the government and state. They haven't come through yet, but I will continue to see that these monies are made available to small ministries like ours and other social and spiritual organizations that are actually doing the work on the street. And when in the legislature, we've got to get more legislation. We have to have legislation because no one in America should be homeless. No one in America should be hungry. And everyone in America should be as healthy as they can be. And I will be pushing legislation to that effect.
Sure, which is just like, it's incredible. Something I've really noticed about you, excuse me, is that there's a lot of people who run on both sides of the aisle who say, I'm gonna do this. But you're already doing it outside of government by yourself. You're doing these incredible things to help our community, and that's just so incredible. So thank you. I'm sorry I'm coughing, but thank you.
Okay. It's not really, to me, it's not incredible. To me, it's what we all, to me, it's what we are charged to do. You know, we are our brother's keeper. We are charged to take care of our fellow brothers and sisters. That's our call. God did not provide us with all these resources and money and great jobs just for ourselves. We are supposed to share it. And I'm not comfortable if people around me are suffering.
which is just, it's so noble that you're such a selfless and amazing person. And I know you
Oh,
think it's
I have my day. I have my day.
um, and so yeah, thank you. I'll hand the next question over to Nicole.
Hi. Okay, sorry. I was having trouble getting the mute. Anyway, criminal justice reform has been a burning issue for the past 40 years, especially in the world today as incarceration is at an all-time high and prisons are one of the nation's leading hotspots with the pandemic. What reforms do you plan to make in terms of criminal justice, and how will you get it done?
Well, that's something I've been working on too. As you know, I'm on the Mesa Police Department's Use of Force Committee, and I've been and reached out and initiated relationships with the East Valley Police Chiefs back about 10 years ago. We were the first to actually reach out and try to get a relationship, because we were very concerned about community policing. You all know that African Americans and Latinos are most highly impacted by the criminal justice system. So during my almost 7 years as the president of the NAACP in the East Valley, we were able to establish many relationships. We're able to help the police departments institute better ways of community policing. I'm on probably the fast dial of all the East Valley police chiefs, and whenever there's a questionable shooting or a death, or we are called, I am part of the community forum to give my input. I was on the phone Sunday with Chief Cost in Mesa. We have spent hours of our time the last year reviewing every policy in the Mesa Police Department, use of force policies. When I was running as president, we represented folks every level, Department of Children's Services, proprietary schools, HOAs, anywhere in our city, really in the actually the East Valley. We went to court. We went to court with people, still do stand there, even though we're not attorneys. We have a lot of I guess we have heart, and we stand there and we with the people, we represent them as friends. And a lot of times we get folks out of jail. I've gotten folks out of jail. I visit them at the jail. We donate to them while they're incarcerated. We gather attorneys. Criminal justice reform really started with Obama's 21st century policing. So if I get in that position, when I get there, and I believe that I will be, I believe that people can feel and sense that I will be a great representative for these issues. We have to look at the school to prison pipeline is something that was started back in the 80s that has to be addressed. I did my doctoral dissertation on African American males and how they hit the third grade or fourth grade syndrome. They do just as well as their counterparts, female counterparts, black and white, until they hit the third or fourth grade. And for some reason, they start going downhill. That needs to be addressed. We have to look at the different types of learning styles. African Americans are kinetic learners. They're like a black kid might want to jump, and when they count to one, they want to jump. One, you count one, but so they move around and they're touchy-feely. So there's cultural considerations that need to be brought into play, and I don't see that a lot in the state of Arizona, and I see that it's almost discouraged in our educational system. So for our educational system to be improved and be effective, we have to have cultural education and take into consideration, the different types of students that we have.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. And I think, again, Danny already touched on this, but it's so cool to see that you're actually still advocating for these things and going out and doing something about them even before you're running. Like, you've been doing this for how long? Like, going and seeing, helping people in prisons and...
So I've been here 13 years, probably 12 years. Once I got my feet wet, I've been doing it. I've even gone to Florence prison, and that prison is, pretty dangerous. It's for sex offenders. I've got church members. I've gone to visit this when no one else can visit them. I go talk to them, to support them,
Yeah,
So,
and even the best of people, or the best and worst, everybody still needs care and someone to talk to. And it's really amazing to see that, you know, we have a candidate that's actually going out there making a difference and caring about her community, because the end goal of, you know, talking to the people you're talking to is ensuring that they feel okay and welcome and stable and hopefully ready to come back to reality and hopefully becoming better people, which overall betters the community. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of our team. You know, it really does mean a lot. And with that, I'm going to hand over the next question to Lauren. Thank you.
Yes. So this one is more of a fun question now that we've done all the more serious policy questions. So what is something outside of politics that you love which voters might not know about you?
I like to roller skate. I like to sing. We just did a new DVD for our homeless ministry to raise awareness for homelessness and affordable housing. I like to play cards. I like to play family games, and I love Family Feud. I'm a writer. I like to read. So my fun things is, well, I have to be careful now. I'm getting a little up there in age now, so I'm kind of scared of breaking those old bones now. But I love to roller skate. It's fun. I like music and it's exercise. Like to swim. Try to swim.
I love that, and especially how, like, the things, like, when I ask, like, what, like, you love to do outside of politics, like, it's still just, like, you volunteering and doing things for the better of the community. Like, well before that, like, you were running. Like, I know that both Nicole and Daniel already said that, but, like, it's so true, and I feel like we have to emphasize this. Like, you're someone who genuinely cares, which just means so much to us and to everyone in just Legislative District 16. And on that note, if you are an LD 16, how could you not be writing in Helen Hunter
Oh,
to vote
I
for?
appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's
Of course. Thank you so much for joining us today. It means a lot.
I thank you for inviting me. It's you guys are, you know, you're going to be carrying the ball pretty soon. You're carrying the
Yeah.
ball. And I'd like to be an example, you know, I'd like to be an example, but I want to be like Reverend Hunter. I want to be good to people, you know, do the right thing for everybody, get fun, you know, make sure everybody has what they need. So, you know, you need to see, and I don't think you all see that a lot right now on the other side too much, people caring for the people. You have to. I thank you. I think you guys are doing a great job. You're doing a great job to come together and be so politically active and to engage your candidates. And you should hold our feet to the fire. You should hold our, did I say feet plural? You should hold our feet to the fire. If I'm elected, come down to the legislature. Talk to folks, get involved, be aides or whatever, come and be involved and learn about to help us, to help us help you.
Yes, thank you so much. And on that note, like I just said, if you are an LD 16, remember to vote for Reverend Dr. Helen Hunter in August and in November.
Yes, ma'am. And one quick thing, you can't put Reverend or Doctor, you have to just put my name, Helen Hunter, which is who I was before I was ever a Reverend or a Doctor. Just my name, Helen Hunter. Write it in, fill in the oval, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
Hey, voters of Arizona, don't let your learning stop here. Head on over to knowyourballotus.com so that you can continue getting to know the candidates on your ballot in order to vote confidently and inform this election season.